Welcome to the Student Scholars Public Speaking Series. Imagine you're listening to a powerful speech, and the speaker has just made an incredibly important point. Then, instead of rushing to the next part of the speech, they stop and there's a pause. The room falls silent. The audience holds their breath for a moment. It feels like the weight of the words is sinking in, doesn't it? Today, I want to talk to you about a technique that might seem simple, but when used correctly, can have a profound effect on your speech. This technique is called using pauses for impact. Pauses are often overlooked or misunderstood, but they are one of the most powerful tools in a speaker's arsenal. A well-timed pause can add emphasis, give your audience a moment to reflect, and allow them to absorb what you've just said. Pauses can change the rhythm of your speech and keep your audience engaged from start to finish. Let's dive into how you can use pauses effectively to take your speeches to the next level. 1. The power of silence. You might think that a speech should be filled with words and sound, but silence can be just as powerful. Pauses give you a chance to slow down and give meaning to what you've just said. A pause is not an absence of communication. It's a chance for your message to resonate. Think about it. When you're listening to a speaker who doesn't pause, you may feel like they're rushing or not giving you time to fully understand their point. But when a speaker uses a pause, it draws your attention and gives you a moment to really process what has just been said. For example, if you're giving a speech about the importance of kindness, you might say, "Kindness is something we can give to others at any time." Pause. Then, allow the audience to reflect on that idea. The pause helps emphasize how important and simple this concept is. 2. Using pauses to emphasize key points. One of the most effective ways to use a pause is to place it right after an important or dramatic statement. This gives the audience time to absorb the significance of what you've said and highlights the point you just made. When you speak quickly or move from one point to another without pause, you risk losing the weight of what you said. For example, if you're speaking about the value of hard work, you could say, "Hard work is the key to success." Pause. The pause makes that statement linger in the air. It draws attention to its meaning and gives your audience a chance to really think about the power of those words. Pause placement tip. After a dramatic or impactful statement, pause for at least 2 to 3 seconds. This allows the audience time to reflect without the speech feeling too slow or awkward. 3. Pausing for dramatic effect. Another fantastic way to use pauses is for dramatic effect. If you're telling a story, sharing a personal experience, or building suspense, a well-timed pause can heighten the emotional impact of your words. A pause adds a sense of anticipation or mystery, making your audience lean in, eager to hear what comes next. For example, imagine telling a suspenseful story where something surprising happens. "And as I turned around, I saw something I never expected." Pause. The audience's curiosity will build during the pause, and when you continue, they'll be even more engaged. 4. Giving the audience time to reflect. Sometimes, pauses aren't just for dramatic effect or emphasizing a point. They also allow your audience the time to reflect. After you've shared an important idea, pause to give them the opportunity to think about what you said. This is especially useful when discussing complex or thought-provoking topics. Pauses allow the audience to process new information before you continue. For example, if you're delivering a speech about mental health, you might say, "It's okay to not be okay." Pause. That pause gives the audience a moment to let that message sink in, and they're more likely to reflect on its meaning. 5. Pausing for transition between ideas. Pauses can also serve as an excellent tool when you're transitioning from one point to another. A brief pause between sections or ideas helps the audience stay focused and aware of the shift. It also gives them time to understand that you're moving to a new topic. For example, let's say you're talking about the importance of teamwork and then shifting to a personal experience. Teamwork is essential for success. Pause. Now let me tell you about a time when working together truly made a difference. The pause signals that you're transitioning and prepares the audience for what's coming next. 6. How long should the pause be? A common question that arises when it comes to pauses is, how long should the pause be? The answer depends on the context, but here are some guidelines. For emphasis, a 2 to 3 second pause works best. For dramatic effect, you can use a slightly longer pause, 5 to 7 seconds, to create suspense. For transitioning, a short 1 to 2 second pause is sufficient to separate ideas or sections. The key is to avoid making the pause feel awkward. If you pause for too long, it may make your audience feel uncomfortable, but if you rush through your speech without pauses, you'll lose the opportunity to make a strong impact. To conclude, pauses are a simple but extremely powerful tool for enhancing your speeches. By strategically placing pauses, you can emphasize key points, add dramatic effect, give your audience time to reflect on your words, make transitions smoother and easier to follow. Pauses allow your audience to connect with your message on a deeper level and keep them engaged throughout your speech. So, next time you step up to speak, remember to slow down, use pauses wisely, and let the power of silence work in your favor. This concludes our video on using pauses for impact. Thank you for watching. See you next time.